All right, let's dive into this one. The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring. We're going deep, not just like, oh, here's what happened, but like really getting into what makes this movie tick.
It really is fascinating. You've got this simple quest, right? Destroy the evil ring, but then it explodes outward into this incredible world. Characters, visuals, the symbolism. It's masterful storytelling.
You hit on something there, the symbolism. I mean, we see hobbits and elves and dwarves, but I feel like there's more to it, you know?
Absolutely. Take the Shire, where it all starts. It's not just a pretty backdrop. Think pre-industrial England, a simpler time. That's what Tolkien was really valuing. And then you have Mordor, the opposite, like industry gone wrong.
So he's working through stuff from his own life.
He lived through both world wars. He saw firsthand what technology, industry unchecked, what that could do, and the ring. It's like that. It's seductive. It promises power, but it's corrupting.
Which, you can't talk about that without bringing up Gollum. He's kind of the poster child for what the ring can do to you.
He's incredibly well done, even as a CGI character. But Gollum's not just scary, he's tragic. Tolkien's word was enslaved to the ring. His body, his mind, it's all broken by it. A visual of what that power does.
But it's not just individuals, right? Whole societies get twisted up by the ring. Look at Gondor. They're falling apart, literally crumbling.
And they don't even have the ring. But that's Tolkien's point. The influence is there, the decline, the infight. They can't unite against the real enemy.
So even without wearing it, you're still caught in its web.
Absolutely. The ring works on you psychologically. Fear, ambition, doubt. Those are the cracks it gets into, whether you're a person or a whole kingdom.
Okay, so we've got this object, this symbol of power, and then you've got Frodo, who's, well, he's not your typical hero, right?
And that's what's so great about his journey. Frodo challenges what we think a hero is. He's not a warrior, he's just a hobbit. But his resilience, his compassion, that's where his strength is. And he needs it, facing what he does.
Which is where the Fellowship comes in, I guess. You've got this mix of everyone, hobbits, elves, dwarves, men.
It's like Tolkien took his whole world and put it into one group, showing you have to have unity. Different people, different skills, but a common goal if they can work together.
Keyword, if, because they don't exactly get along all the time. Gimli and Legolas almost came to blows at the start.
That's the point. They start off distrustful. Dwarves and elves, old grudges, right? But as they journey, they learn. They see each other's good sides.
So there's like an internal journey happening alongside the whole destroy the ring thing.
Exactly. Fellowship is about so much more than just plot. It's the characters growing, changing, and connecting with each other in spite of it all.
Those connections, though, get really tested in the Mines of Moria. Things get dark really fast.
It's like they descend into the unknown, both physically and emotionally. Moria holds secrets, old traumas, and, yeah, danger. And that Balrog.
Oh, man, that scene. It's scary, but it's also visually amazing.
It's more than just a CGI monster. The Balrog is this primal force, you know, chaos and destruction. It's saying, hey, there's darkness in the world and in yourselves. You can't escape it.
And then Gandalf, he sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
Which, wow. But the Fellowship's left reeling. What are they going to do?
That's huge. Thematically, it's about what are you willing to give up for the greater good. But for the characters, they've lost their leader.
But as he's falling, right, Gandalf says something about a Balrog. This foe is beyond any of you. It's like, he's not gone.
Yeah, it's subtle, but you're right. He's hinting at what's to come. Gandalf will return, stronger, wiser. But that's for later. And in that moment, without Gandalf, the Fellowship is broken. Not just, like, physically split up, but their spirit's gone.
Which is where Lothlórien comes in, this elven realm. It's almost the opposite of Moria. Peaceful, beautiful.
Yeah, it's a sanctuary, a place to heal, to think. They need that after what they just went through.
But it's not just like a vacation spot, right?
Yeah.
There's this otherworldly feel to Lothlórien. Like time works differently there.
That's the elves, their whole deal. Nature, timelessness, beauty, it all connects. It's almost like the Fellowship can breathe again, remember what they're fighting, F.R.R.
And then there's Galadriel, the Lady of the Elves. She's intense, like she sees right through you.
She does. Wisdom, foresight, that's her thing. And she knows how dangerous the ring is, not just to Middle-earth, but to anyone who carries it. That mirror scene, showing everyone their desires, their fears, it's a test.
And Boromir, man, you can see him struggling. Wants to use the ring to save his people. Good intentions, but...
That's the tragedy of Boromir. He's not a bad guy, but he's tempted. He represents how easy it is to get seduced by that power. His attack on Frodo. It's heartbreaking, but it shows how anyone can fall.
He's not evil, just
Right.
desperate, right? Gondor's falling apart. He thinks the ring is the answer.
Right, that's what makes him interesting. It's not black and white. He's got good in him, which is why his death, protecting Merry and Pippin, it's like redemption. He overcomes that darkness at the end.
And it changes everything. Frodo really sees, what the ring can do, even to someone he trusts.
Yeah, that's when Frodo decides he has to go to Mordor alone. Only Sam goes with him. He knows that the burden's his to carry, and that he has to isolate himself to protect the others.
Man, when the Fellowship breaks apart there, that's rough. But it shows Frodo's grown up fast. He's putting everyone else first.
Right. It's heartbreaking, but it also shows how strong their friendship is. Even if they're not together, what they went through, it'll always connect them.
So the Fellowship split up, but we're only partway through the story. What have we learned so far from this first movie?
Fellowship of the Ring is saying anyone can be a hero. You don't have to be powerful, just look at Frodo. It's about choosing to do what's right, even when it's hard.
Yeah, and strength isn't always about fighting. It's courage, it's kindness, it's resisting that easy way out that the ring offers.
And it's about working together. We see that with the Fellowship, even when they mess up. We need each other, even when we're different.
Okay, so we know the story, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about how they made this movie. Because Fellowship was huge E, technically.
It was revolutionary. Visual effects, creating this whole world that felt real. Audiences hadn't seen anything like it.
From those landscapes they filmed in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
To the detail on the costumes, everything. Visually, it's just stunning.
And the CGI. Gollum, the Balrog. That was cutting-edge stuff. They weren't just effects. They had personality, you know? They felt real.
Back then, a lot of fantasy movies were, well, kind of cheesy. Low budget. Fellowship showed it could be epic and beautiful. A&D make you feel something.
Oh, and the M music, Howard Shore's score. Iconic. Those melodies, they capture the feeling of each place, each character. It adds so much to the emotion of the movie.
The soundtrack was like a bestseller on its own, right? People still listen to it.
But it's more than just looking good or sounding good. Fellowship connected with people because it's about stuff we all deal with. Good versus evil, friendship, being brave. Those are timeless.
Even though they're hobbits and elves and wizards, they felt like real people. Their problems, their victories, it's stuff we all relate to.
Exactly. That's why Fellowship of the Ring stays with you. It makes you think even after it's over. It reminds us that even when things are bad, there's still hope. And anyone can make a difference.
So, to wrap up this part, think about this. What if you were Frodo? Impossible task, that ring tempting you. What choices would you make? What would you sacrifice?
That's a question worth thinking about. Because the ring, it's the ultimate test. It shows that power, it can corrupt anyone. Fellowship of the Ring makes us look at ourselves, what we value, and what we do when tempted.
Back again for our deep dive on Fellowship. Story, characters, all that. But there's one big thing left.
The legacy, right. Why does this movie still matter? It's not just hobbits and elves. There's something about Fellowship that hits everybody.
It wasn't just a hit. It was like a cultural thing. People rediscovered Tolkien, fantasy stories went nuts, and movie making. It changed.
Yeah, it did something special. Went beyond fantasy movie and became this touchstone for talking about good and evil, friendship, courage. It said, even when things are dark, there's always hope.
You said it changed fantasy stories. Like Game of Thrones, right? That epic scale, the characters are complicated, it's got that real-world feel, even with dragons and stuff.
Fellowship proved fantasy could be more than just, oh, cool, escape. It can hold up a mirror to US, our good and bad sides, what we struggle with.
Yeah.
It can be really deep.
And the way they made it, that was huge too. Visually, the music, the acting, it all pulls you in.
It set the standard not just for fantasy, but for any movie. Storytelling, making you feel like you're right there in that world, that's powerful.
And that's why I think it lasts. Fellowship of the Ring, it's more than just watching a movie. You go on this journey with them. It's a fight against darkness, but also it's about the good stuff in us.
And that connects with everyone, no matter who you are or when you watch it. That need for adventure, for friends, believing that good can win, those never get old.
It gives you hope, too. Things are messy in the real world, but Fellowship says one person can make a difference. Even if the odds are stacked against you, courage and kindness, that's what matters.
That message, it's timeless. As important now as it was back then. That's why The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, it's more than just a great movie. It's a masterpiece, a cultural moment, and it keeps inspiring people all over the world.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive, but go back and watch Fellowship again. You'll see new things, I guarantee it. And maybe you'll find some answers you didn't even know you were looking for.
The journey's not over, though. The story goes on, the characters grow, Middle-earth still needs saving. Keep exploring, keep thinking about what it all means. There's always more to discover.
Until next time, happy watching.